Hello and welcome back to Galactic Reviews.
Hey!
Woo!
This happened. Does this happen every time?
Every time Ethan's on here, yeah.
Yes,
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, okay. it's Makes sense. Makes tradition. sense.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Yeah. Sure. Yes.
And we recently just watched the first episode of Loki season 2. My thoughts on this are it feels a lot like the first season, and I didn't really care for the first season that much. So it feels kind of lackluster.
I agree with Payson,
It's
except I liked the first season.
yeah, what I got to say about Loki or this what seems to be the gonna be going on in the second season. It doesn't look like I'm gonna care that much about it that much. Seems to be leaning more in the same direction of it's all about Sylvie and they're trying to set up Kang. Kang is not big enough of a threat. They have to bring in more of him in order for him to be a threat.
Mm.
So that's one thing where I see that as kind of a problem because there are many different Kangs, but you could also say there's many different other heroes. Like there's many different Spider-Man, many different Loki's, many different Avengers that could come in and stop many different Kangs. So
Good point. Good point.
at that point, what are we playing? At that point, what are we playing the odds at here? Like, what are the stakes exactly? And
Mm.
I don't know. It's I don't know whether or not they've tried to shoot so high in order to get whatever stakes they wanted, in order to get the same kind of stakes that they had in Infinity War, or if they tried to rush the ball and this is sort of the bull that just came out when they tried to push too fast in order to make everything the same as it was before. Um, I did like Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson, and I did like Short Round. All three of them were good in this, but everybody else, I kind of was just like, why are they here? They're
Who?
annoying. Short Round, the guy who plays Obi.
No way.
Yeah, it's Short Round.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
You're you're late to the it's the party there, bud. You didn't know who that was, Ethan? Hmm.
No,
That's
thought they just cast some random Asian guy.
it felt a lot like the first season, but I liked the first season. Hard to tell where it's going, but
Much like the
a
first
lot
season. So
a lot of Disney stuff starts out slow, but then it ends with a banger. But
no,
it's
but
I would like to
disagree with that. I
another
disagree with
con
that completely.
another conversation. Most of the Star Wars stuff starts out slow, ends with a banger. Most of the Marvel stuff starts out good and it ends kind of slow, except for Loki. And I think Loki does really good. I liked Loki the first season, and I think the second season is on track to do pretty aight. Do we want to rate the second episode? I mean, the second season, first episode out of 10, or
We can, yeah. We can. We can just give our
hmm,
initial thoughts and give our ranking of what we think of what this episode has done and what we think is going to happen going forward. I think this episode has literally done nothing except
yeah,
bring
it's
us
hard to
back to the
tell.
point that we were at the end of the first season. Except now we that first season kind of draw that everybody thought was the big draw or the big shock factor was that Kang had somehow altered the TVA into being part of his organization. Turns out that's always been the case. So there goes that shock factor. And Loki somehow missed it that whole time, even though he's got a statue of himself right there in the TVA headquarters that we've never seen. How convenient. It's
That's what
very,
like
very,
timeline stuff.
very weird. Well, also that, and there is no timeline in the TVA. However, there's a timeline in the TVA.
Well, time is broken now because of the timeline.
Yeah, yeah. So there was no timeline, but that was timeline, but there was never was any timeline, even though there is timeline.
Because time
And
is
then they,
broken.
and then they,
After the after they killed Kang, everything that was holding it together is now unraveling. So now there is time, and that's why it's going. That's why it's going all
no,
over the place.
no, that's never explained.
I mean, we knew that though that the moment that Kang was killed, or he who remains, whatever the guy is at the end, that
No,
everything's gonna break.
the only
Because
thing
of
that
the first
we
season, we know that's gonna start breaking, which is what
no,
happens.
no,
And then it just like goes further in episode
that
two.
was the timeline. spreading out infinitely, and they couldn't contain it anymore because Kang was the
Yeah.
one that was mainly containing it. This doesn't explain why the TVA now has a timeline and is somehow Loki's able to travel back from the past and present, even though there's apparently never been any timeline, as was said in season one, as there
I
was
don't
no
know if there's
timeline.
not.
They said
I think
that.
it's
They
I think it's
said
just
that,
time works. I think it's just time works differently.
but they said that there's no timeline.
Well, that's impossible to not have a timeline. That doesn't make any sense. I don't think that's what they said.
That's what they said. That
It
Oh,
that
is
they're
kind of
outside.
confusing as
They
well.
said they were outside of time,
I
and that
think
there
time.
is no timeline.
They did say
I think
that,
that.
yeah.
And yet Loki is
Well,
somehow going in between timelines of the
well,
past, future,
either way, it's pointing out the fact that it's broken because of Kang coming back.
or that the
And
writing sucks. You don't know which one, so you got to project whichever one you think it might be.
I don't remember the first season. I'm just going off of the second episode.
I'm just
And the
going
second
off of
episode,
I'm just going
shut
off of
up, shut
memory.
up, shut up, shut up, shut up. The second episode makes sense in that, oh yeah, time's broken, and because Loki came back, now Loki's broken too. That makes sense. I don't know what's going on with time and stuff. I don't remember all that.
You mean the
So
second season, first episode, not the
yeah,
second episode?
whatever.
I'm just
Like
saying what I
I'm
remember.
just saying, yeah, I'm just saying what I remember.
Okay, and
And I'm
I'm
just
saying
saying
what
what
I
I
remember.
remember.
Yeah, well, Ethan, you suck.
Did you watch all
So
this
I
show?
what?
Did you watch all this show? I don't remember if you
you
did or
talking
not.
me
Loki
or
season 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised.
How girl with daddy issues stabbed Kang?
Oh yeah.
Of course I remember that.
I liked Loki season one. Y'all can,
It was pretty good.
yeah.
It was just I had the problem with the girl stabbing the Kang because it was like she has like trust issues.
It
But if you are willing to go through those trust issues, then you should be able to rule with a Loki.
her her
What?
action.
Hold on, Ethan. What did you just say?
So
I
if
mean,
you have trust issues and the
uh-huh.
person that you're with doesn't and he's willing to compromise with you, wouldn't you think that relationship would eventually work out?
No, because you don't have trust issues. So no matter what the compromises are, you're still not going to trust because you got trust issues.
But I think eventually over time she will trust in Loki and they will both rule together.
You
Yeah,
realize
but
that
that
it's
but
the
that didn't
same.
happen
You
because
realize it's the same
obviously,
person as a woman that is a man,
yeah,
and
so that's
he's
really
fallen in love
weird.
with. So it's
He
really
got
like incest
he,
on a different level. You know, it's like
Yeah, I don't even know
It's
if
like
that's like
incest to the second degree. Like you
yeah, I don't
couldn't
even know
get
if
more
that's like
incest.
I don't even know if that's like incest
It
even because like
is kind of.
it's kind of, but like it's
It's
also
okay,
yourself.
yourself.
okay,
It's
okay,
So it's like
yourself.
Thomas.
I feel like
Okay,
incest is like making it too easy. Like I feel like it's worse than
okay,
incest.
Thomas, would you date
You know what
yourself
I
as a
mean?
girl?
No, that's I'm saying it's worse than incest. Like it feels
That's what I'm saying.
worse.
I'm saying it's like
Yeah.
incest, but to like the second degree.
Yeah, I feel like incest is going too easy on it. I feel like there
Yeah,
needs to be
yeah.
like a worse type word,
It's monstrosity, I think.
probably. Because like if in No Way Home, that'd be weird. You know what I mean? Like that would be
Yeah,
weird.
cause yeah,
Like
what?
Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker all of a sudden started hitting on Aunt May. That'd be the kind of weird that we're dealing with right here.
Yeah, that'd be kind of yeah, that'd be kind of weird.
It would be
Because
even
there's
weirder because Aunt May died.
Yeah, Ethan. Okay, cool. Yeah. But anyway, back to Loki again for like the 17th time. Back to Loki. I think it's fine, but it's not anything great. It's certainly not some of the other stuff that's come out from Disney, but it's hard to tell off the first episode. So, I think it's fine. There's some stuff that it's like that was pretty cool. Like the scenes where it's like the timeline and like a lot of the cinematic shots were really good. They had a lot of shots where it was just like a one shot and they would like lead into different like passageways and hallways. I loved that. That was amazing. That was great. I was looking at that and I was like, whoa. Whoever did that, gold star. That was really good. You maybe some of the story stuff doesn't make sense. I didn't notice it though. That's my thing. I did not I wasn't looking at that and I was like, that doesn't make sense. I looked at that and I was like, that does make sense. So whether I'm wrong or not, I don't really know because I haven't seen the first season in a minute. So
I
I haven't
haven't
seen the
either.
first season. I haven't seen the first season since it came out, even though I thought it was really good. But yeah, so a lot of the shots and cinematography was really great. But overall, I think it was just an average opening episode.
I think it was mid-tier at best, pretty bad. The only remedy that actually was good was Tom Hiddleston, Owen Wilson, and Short Round all kind of working together. I thought their chemistry was wonderfully done. I thought they did great with the crap they were given. It just it
Them
just
going
sucked.
back in, them going back in the freaking when he was going back in time and like the time thing where like they're all talking to each other. I thought that was really funny. I was like laughing at that. I thought that was great. All right, Ethan. Well, what did you think of it? Since it wasn't a Frozen movie.
He probably is gonna say
Dang.
like I didn't watch it. So
Actually, no, I'm kidding. I did watch it. I thought this episode gave a lot of mystery to the second season.
yeah, like what's gonna happen? Because we don't know.
Wow, there's like a lot of
Good looks.
mystery with this. Like,
Good
how
looks.
does like how does Owen Wilson's character know DB?
OB.
OB, that's it.
It says it in
DB.
it says it in the thing.
What?
It says it in the episode how he knows each other.
Because he
Yeah,
went
they
down
go.
there 400 years ago?
No, he went
Yep.
on the elevator. They both went on the same elevator, and that's how they met. And they haven't spoken for 400 years, which doesn't make any
Oh.
sense because they're not supposed to have a timeline.
Yeah,
Well, if
that's
they
where I
don't have a
disagree.
timeline, then they counted it themselves, and then it was like what they would do is they would probably count 365 days themselves and exist out of the timeline.
That's what I'm saying. Like time might just be
Because
working differently.
time is currently halted. So let's just say time halted now at 10:07 at night, 11:07, whatever.
It feels like you
If
can
it
still track things
halts
though.
right now, we wouldn't age. We would just exist. So what would happen is our brains
But
and everything would still exist, but like we would like not repeat the same day every day, but we
but
would just
there's
exist in
yeah,
but
but
there's
there's
no
still time.
time.
But there's still time though because like
Yes,
It's
but
not like
that's
they're
your
because
frozen.
I was like, because
wait, wait,
like
wait, 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 wait. Your
2 seconds ago
perception,
I just
your
talked to you.
perception of time and like a timeline is different.
All right, so they just perceive it differently, or I don't know. I don't know, dude. It
They're
makes sense to
outside
me.
of time. They have no
Maybe I'm
time.
explaining it wrong.
They're outside of time and don't have a distinct timeline. They don't have a timeline where they're affecting anything on the world. They are outside of time, therefore they don't have a timeline, but they can perceive time as a gradual thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It makes
that
sense.
makes sense.
But
That makes sense.
but then how does Loki go back in time if there is no timeline and only perceive time in the outside of
Because he
time?
shot himself back into the timeline and got himself out.
Well, because
No,
like
that's what I'm saying. There's a problem because
either way,
he
you
should.
still like you still have time
Because
because
he's a
like that
Yeah,
even if time stopped, that conversation just happened like 5 seconds
because I
ago,
thought he
basically.
was like
So, yeah.
originally a part of the time.
well, it can't work because if that's the case, then all the Infinity Stones would still have some merit of being in use that are being used as essentially paperweights in the first season,
I mean, like
like the
what?
Time Stone. If that was the case, they could just grab a Time Stone and fix whole Loki's mess.
But isn't the
Why didn't
time
they do
stone
that?
destroyed?
No,
Well,
they got
no,
like
that's not.
50 of them, and like they got 50 of
They're
them as paperweights. That was a
they're
joke in
pulling.
the first episode of the season.
They're pulling him. That's not what they did to save Loki from time warping or whatever it was.
No, no,
What
I'm
was
not
it?
saying
Time
that's what
splitting?
they did, but
Oh,
what they
okay.
could have. But I'm saying what they could have done, if there is a timeline, is that they could have used a time stone.
Yeah, because
No,
time then started back in the TVA.
Well, no, because
no,
that's
because
what.
that's not.
No, that's what I'm saying is. Then they could use a time stone because the whole reason why they couldn't use any of the stones was they were outside of time, outside of reality. But now they're
You,
saying they're back in time, or that
oh
they
my
have a
God.
timeline.
It's confusing. I don't know. It made sense to me, and it still kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it's confusing
I
because they
think you're
don't know how to
looking.
write.
I don't know. It made sense, and it still makes sense. But
If you can't tell, Payson has really done his research on this.
No, I just
Yeah.
watched the show.
So like, they're going outside of time. They outside of it, right? They out of the timeline. They
Yeah,
might still have time, and time might work differently, but they outside the timeline. And
yeah,
so
and it also
Loki,
doesn't. It
they
also doesn't.
obviously pull in Loki out the timeline. So that's what they're doing to get him in the TVA. That's why he keeps jumping around the timeline. So yeah, I yeah,
What?
I get it, but it's hard to explain.
The whole reason why he's jumping around in time was because of the whole. I think from the whole fiasco that happened with him and Kang when he jumped back in through the portal or whatever, or Sylvie pushed him back in through the portal instead of him like
Yeah,
going
yeah,
through
that's
it.
what happened.
And that
Yeah.
all kind of messed him up for whatever reason. So now he's jumping back and forth in between the TVA timeline, supposedly, even though the TVA shouldn't be on a timeline. That's what I'm saying.
Well, they can't not be on a timeline. Like they have to have some type of timeline, even if it works differently than other timelines. It has to have
You would
some type of timeline.
you would think so, but they explicitly said in the first season of the first of in the first season, episode 1, that there was no timeline that TVA was on. That they just
I don't,
existed.
I don't know if that's. I don't know. I'll have to rewatch that. I don't know if that's what they said
I
specifically.
I'm
think
pretty sure
Payson's
that's what they
right.
said.
Well, yeah, you're pretty sure though. Like I want to know. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
because
No, because I haven't.
Loki caught up. Loki then caught up with what happened
Well, no, because they pull
between,
him
and
because
if
he's
he
like
gen no no no,
split.
if he
He's
genuinely watched everything, he would be considered as old as he was in that day, but he remained the same age.
what are you talking about right now?
So, like, for example, if
They're
Loki,
outside of time, so they don't have a timeline, which means they don't age, which is why like OB and Morbius can apparently live for 405,000 years or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's just time working differently. Maybe time's not moving or they're
No,
not
time is
aging.
at a standstill, and they're
But they're
currently
still.
not moving at all.
Which is weird, which sucks for that one little lady that looked like Maz Kanata in a skin suit.
Mhm.
That sucked for
That's
her because
actually insane.
she's stuck like that.
I need to watch like a YouTube tutorial. How does the timeline work in Loki?
They're gonna probably break because they're not gonna be able to explain it because they didn't write it well.
Well, maybe that's why. I don't know. It's already broken because of Kang anyway. So
Yes, because Kang wrote everything up until a specific point, like he said in
Which is very,
season
very
one.
which is very, very stupid. Basically, every death that happens from now on is Sylvie's fault because she killed Kang.
Yep.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's already given.
So everything that happened in Multiverse of Madness, everything that happened in the Spider-Man No Way Home movie is technically Sylvie's fault. Like all the death and everything. Aunt May's death is technically Sylvie's fault now. All the stuff that happened is now
May's death is technically Tom's fault too, but
it's technically her fault because if she didn't kill Kang, there wouldn't be the multiverse or multiple different timelines. The multiverse wouldn't
Well,
have come
no,
about.
That was Doctor Strange doing his whole thing.
Yeah, but if that was the case, that wouldn't have happened because of. See what I'm
I don't know.
saying?
Well, either way, I'm
Well,
fine with blaming. So
they also haven't
I'm
explicitly
fine with
said
blaming her for everything anyway. So.
yeah, well, it is a woman, so
With
That's
trust
actually
issues.
crazy. Yeah, but it still makes sense. Like it doesn't have to fit every piece perfectly for me to like even though it still fits everything perfectly for me. It's hard to
yeah.
explain it.
Sure. It's also hard to cower underneath a villain that has been defeated 2 times.
Yeah, but there's like infinite versions of them though.
I know, that's what I was saying. It's kind of hard to cower after a villain that's been defeated by Ant-Man
Still
and the
I
giant
think he is still pretty.
and the giant mechanical bobblehead,
What?
MODOK.
Oh, I hate
That
Modoc.
joke of a character they made in Ant-Man.
He was so dumb. Modoc was Modoc was like Taskmaster. Like they wasted that opportunity.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm
I
just
didn't even
saying,
watch that movie.
I'm probably going to be disappointed as much with this season as I was with the last season.
And I'm just saying you come wrong for that, for real.
Hey, that's your opinion. You're allowed to be wrong, dude. So
You are
makes the
too,
world
man.
go round.
We're all living in a world with people with wrong opinions.
I'll give this a ranking of. So far, I'll give it a ranking of 3, but it'll probably go down to a 2 for the whole
3
season.
is actually insane.
I know. I should be giving it a 2, but I'm being gracious.
That's actually crazy. You're just, I don't know.
Well, 1 point's
It's
for
not.
Tom Hiddleston, 1 point's for Owen Wilson, and 1 point's for Short Round.
It's not
So
even the
that's
fact that
3.
like you're too hard on things. It's not even the
The
fact that like you're
minus
too
the
hard on
minus one is
things.
when she comes back.
-1 is when Sylvie comes and like steals the show, and I'm like, oh, they don't do anything anymore.
I
Because
don't
they're
know.
good.
You're
Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston, they are good chemistry, and then bringing in Short Round has been phenomenally well done. It's
you're
just,
Oh, yeah.
it sucks. It sucks because
when
they don't do a whole bunch of stuff.
you're too hard. So you're too hard on movies, and like your reasons for why you're hard on movies and shows don't fit like your penalty does not fit the crime, basically. And that's what I'm getting like a lot from all your atrociously terrible takes.
My penalty is if you're not entertaining me, why am I still watching you?
Hey, you must be just like a tough man to entertain because I think it's great. I think your
How am
standards
I a
are
tough
just like
man to
too
entertain?
high.
I watch the A Team and Gilligan's Island. How exactly is that not?
You don't like Clone Wars, dude. I'm still not over that. You don't like Clone Wars, and that makes me mad. And that always will
What?
make me mad.
I used to like Clone Wars
See, yeah, exactly. I don't like you.
when I was stupid.
I can't stand you. You suck.
I used to like Clone Wars before I actually started getting into the whole timeline of Star Wars, and I was like, oh yeah, that kind of just ruins everything, doesn't it?
You just make me mad. Clone Wars makes Clone Wars makes the prequels better.
But
Clone Wars
for
makes
clarity, I'm talking about the furry Dave Filoni's Clone Wars, not Gendy Tartakovsky, not his Clone Wars.
Dave
Gendy
Filoni.
Tartakovsky's Clone Wars is the bomb.
Dave Filoni is doing such a great job with Star Wars.
I know. He keeps on bringing Ahsoka back to life and, killing her
So
or putting her in
and it's so
situations where she
great.
should die and then
And
bringing her
it's
right
so
back to
great.
life.
And it's so great.
I
And
know.
it's so great.
Makes you feel bad, though, for Qui-Gon Jinn. It really does.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. Darth Maul can come
Shot through
back
the
from being
heart. Hey, your two blade.
Darth Maul
You
can
give
come back from being
back.
like severed in half, but by God, Qui-Gon Jinn gets stabbed through the stomach and wow, he's gone.
I mean, Anakin got all of his limbs chopped off and got literally burned on fire. So
I
I think
know,
we're
and he was
past
put
that.
and he was put in a metal suit where he no longer had the same vital functions and was essentially a robot.
Yeah, I don't know why Qui-Gon is dead, to be honest.
Well, Qui-Gon should be dead. Sabine should be dead. Darth Maul should be dead. And should have been dead like since episode 1.
I get why
Who
all
else
of
got
those are dead.
stabbed?
I
Reva
don't
should
think
have died
Sabine.
when she was a youngling. A lot
I
of these
don't think
people should have
Sabine.
died.
I don't think Sabine should have been dead.
She
I
didn't
think
even
that
get
makes
put in a
sense.
bacta tank. They just essentially put a band-aid on her in the show and said, "You're good.
That's not what they
Walk it
did.
off."
That's what you see them do. But
I know.
she was passed out for like all of it for
Yeah,
like I
she's
think a
passed up
full
for a
day.
day and she gets healed.
We moved on to Star Wars, guys.
I
We need to
know.
stay on
Well, no.
Avengers.
Do
We need
you
to
know
stay
what
on
happened?
Loki season
Well,
2, episode 1, guys.
This whole thing is like freaking dumb because I'm rewatching all of Star Wars and I see these things happen. I like Phantom Menace. I see Obi-Wan get like not Obi-Wan, freaking Qui-Gon get stabbed. And do you know what happens for like 15 to 10 minutes?
He
He just
dies.
lays there. I'm saying he just lays there. Like there's nothing he could have like with Sabine and like all these people, they get medical attention almost right away. It makes sense that Qui-Gon is dead because guess what happens? Like for like 20 minutes, he's just no medical attention. So he's just stabbed. That's just like damaging all his organs. Like it makes sense
Yeah,
when you
like
think
part
about
of
it.
his organs aren't there. Like Sabine,
Yeah,
part of her organs
and then
shouldn't be there.
they stab her in a different spot. That's all I gotta say for
Yeah,
that. All right, Loki. That doesn't need to be in the video.
I'm
I
not
don't care.
arguing with you
It's
because I want to hurry this up. Loki's horrible.
Loki's pretty
Ethan, what do you
fine.
rank it? I said 3. Thomas,
I'll go with the 6.
I'm giving it a solid 7. I think it's fine. I think y'all are being too hard on it.
I think Ethan's probably going to change his mind by the time it ends.
Probably.
I think I might. I'm probably gonna change my mind too by the time it ends.
Then Thomas over here is gonna kiss Disney's rear probably with the show.
Star
I
Wars
don't
is doing
think.
great. Marvel is doing pretty decent with some of its stuff, but
Yeah.
then it just does. I don't know. Marvel's hit or miss. It either does really good or really bad. So and I don't, and this looks like it's really good, but nothing's confirmed. It could be really terrible too. But I'm just saying, based off this first episode, I think it's fine. I think it looks great.
I'm
I
just
already
excited.
said I already said the things that I like. Some things that I don't like. Oh, I had it. Oh yeah, I don't like Sylvie. Like at the freaking McDonald's. I thought that was weird as an end credit scene
Well, that
or
was the one
whatever.
part I could relate to her about. So
That was like
What?
a whole weird thing.
she went to
Did you not
McDonald's.
see that?
Did you not see the end credit scene?
No.
The end credit
All right.
scene where she goes into McDonald's, and I'm like, that's the one part where I can relate. And she wanted to get something off everything off the menu.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
I was like, Ethan will relate to that.
Some things that I didn't like was the whole
That lady that's what's call it, that the black lady that's the purger or whatever from the first season. Didn't like her at all in this either. But
that's not part that I didn't like. I didn't like the council meeting. I thought the council people were stupid. Where it's just like that might be the point, but I was just like I don't know, that actively made me mad. I was like, what are y'all doing? That's probably the
MCU,
point of it.
the two
I just didn't
there were three old people, Ethan, and the two old women were the only ones talking. The old guy was asleep during the whole meeting. So women get it done.
but they weren't. They were the ones being dumb. So I
I
don't
know
We
it
have
had
to
to
put
be.
it on the record.
Yeah, it had to be the black lady that had to step up and say something.
I'm fine with, but I don't care.
Yeah,
You
that was my whole
notice
thing.
things like that and you take points off where it's just like it doesn't matter. But
No, because they've said that that was what they were going to do, and they explicitly said they were going to push that in everything they did. I wouldn't mind if it happened every now and then, but the fact that they go out of their way to push that, and then they say, and then they just shove it in your face, I ain't
yeah,
got a
you
problem
take
with
a
that.
whole different side of movies. Like I don't even look at that and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's two women. I'm just looking at that and I'm just watching Loki. So, and I'm
I'm
not
not.
saying that I'm
I'm
not
not
saying
saying.
that. Oh my gosh, can I finish? I'm not saying
Yes.
like you're a bad person for that, for noticing those things. I'm just
Here
saying
comes.
I never do. So, you know, and
I'm
like
not.
when you take and when you take points off, I'm just like, what the heck? Anyway, you can go now.
I'm not saying that I had a problem with there being two old women like kind of being in charge of everything. I'm just saying, why did the old guy have to be asleep? Like, why did deliberately they have to have the old guy asleep? Why deliberately did they have to have Mobius be not the one sitting in the chair, kind of explaining everything? He would be the one that would know more than she would. He was with Loki throughout the whole season, kind of undercovering this whole thing. She just happened to be one of the few people that got mind lifted or whatever. So during the season,
Yeah,
so it makes it's very deliberate what they're doing, and it kind of drives me insane. But all right, so 3, 6 for Ethan, and 7 for Thomas. So thank you for watching this episode of Galactic Reviews. Join us next time when we probably blow each other's brains out and something else. And we'll see you
I
next
will
time.
probably murder you next time.
I have no doubt. And we'll see you next time on Galactic
Love
Reviews.
you, love you, cousin.
Bye.